Right, hi everyone. I haven't been on in the last few weeks because I've been completely refurbishing my workshop and I had to fit a new shed roof. I've been getting a lot of trouble with condensation during the winter months, and the condensation collects on the inside of the ceiling and has been dripping onto the machines, and it started to rust on the outside. So in the end I bought some 18mm construction ply, 18mm thick, and I bolted that onto the existing roof and covered it with good quality roofing felt. So I'm hoping that's going to be the end of the problem. I've also put like a thin foam on the inside of the ceiling to insulate it and to make it more soundproof. And I've also been upgrading everything else. And in this video I'd just like to show you that you do not need a great big workshop or shed to have a nice machine shop. Also, because I'm filming in the shed, I've been upgrading my equipment. The shed is too small for using a tripod. My actual walking space in between the machines is only 4 foot by 3 foot, and I came up with the idea of using booms that come off from the walls. I've cleared all the walls, by the way, with the construction ply as well, and I've been making these booms that come out from the wall. They come out from a hinge point. The first bracket that's actually screwed onto the wall is one of the TV brackets, swivel brackets, and then I've just bolted 1 inch square box section aluminium with 8mm bolts and made swivel joints, so I can actually swivel that in any position that I want over the machines. And I have 3 of those now, one that the camera's on at the moment, this one, and one in the corner for the Myford lathe. So if you're thinking of filming in your workshop, these are very easy to make up. You just buy an old tripod and take the fittings off the top, make up adapters and fit that on. And when they're not in use, I can just swivel them and fold them up and push them back close to the wall. I've also upgraded all my lighting, my spotlights, to the latest LED bulbs, including the tubes here. And what I like about these is they're very bright. They're half the wattage, so there's a good savings on electricity, and they actually come on instantly. I also bought a small handheld labelling machine, and I've labelled everything up in the workshop, so it makes it much easier to find things. Also labelled the plug sockets and wires, so I know exactly what they go to. And if you do buy a labelling machine, I do recommend this one here, made by Brother. It's called a P-Touch H101C. It comes with Duracell batteries and some tape, and it was under £15 post free. Now, many people, when they buy a shed or workshop, they use the workshop as a store as well, and it gets cluttered up and things are very hard to find, and it's a messy working environment. Now, when I was in the aerospace industry, we were actually taught to remove everything that wasn't needed for a particular job. Things like tools that weren't used often or whatever were taken out of the working area, and it was a much cleaner place to work. Things were easier to find, and it was actually a pleasure to work in those areas. So now I've incorporated that idea into my machine shop here. I've removed all consumable items, things like lathe spares, tools that are not used often, and I've put those into waterproof plastic storage bins in the yard. So now this is a 360-degree view of my machine shop as it stands now. This is my low-cost Chinese bench drill. You can see how I've labelled everything up. Swinging round, this is my bench area. I've got the individual spotlights above that with the LED tube as well, so I can position lighting on exactly what I'm working on. You can see that I haven't got much bench space, but I'll show you what I do to get over that problem. Swinging round, come to my Chinese mini lathe, and all the tooling for both lathes are kept underneath in the individually labelled drawers. These metal drawers I get from my local recycle centre. Again, I have individual spotlights which I can direct onto any area of the machine. I was very fortunate because my local supermarket was throwing out these heavy duty perspex shelving, so I had those and just screwed those straight to the wall with self-tapping screws, and I like those because I can see all the tools clearly. And this is the section here that has the mini lathe tools. I use the same quick change tool post for the Myford lathe, but that's a different centre height, so I keep all the tools for the Chinese mini lathe here, and the Myford ones are on the other side. The tube light, if you want to make a really nice bracket to hold the tube light, and that comes out from the wall, you can position it directly over the machine, and I do that with these old speaker brackets that you can buy from car boot sales or recycle centres or whatever. Metal construction, and it just screws straight onto the wall with a couple of self-tapping screws, and then you can put the lightweight LED tube light onto the front end with a couple of cable ties, and then you can actually pull it out from the wall if you want to and push it back in. So it's just held on the front there with those couple of cable ties. Then swinging round, we come to the Myford ML7. I've painted up many areas red to make it nice and bright. All the tools and machines stand out nicely, and that's my other filming boom up there, and drawers for tools and the stock down the side there. And underneath I have my powerful vacuum cleaner. Behind that I have the silent compressor, and then swinging round again I come to my grinding and buffing section. Buffing wheel on the top, grinding wheel in the centre, and disc sander on the bottom here, and that's all on one machine tool stand. I designed that and made that so that it would take all three tools and save space. And then I've got my belt sander, and I have that on a small trolley because I have some drawers behind that, which I keep things like drills that I don't use often. I can pull that one out from that area to get to those drawers, and that's the 360-degree view. I've also painted my concrete floor with the grey workshop paint, and I recommend to do this because it makes things easy to find if you drop things, and it's much easier to clean up swarf and stuff after use. So to get over not having much bench space, I have some leftover construction ply, 18mm thick, which I keep under the bench, and I've just self-tapped a nice piece of hardwood on the underside there, and then that one just drops into the vise. Do it up like that, nice and tight, and then I have a nice working area, and this is the area that I also film components on. And I have the various fittings that go in the vise like that. Put one away. I have my American-made Panna vise, very good tool, bolted to a nice block of wood that goes in the vise like that as well. This one's got a nice long jaw opening and is very good for holding stuff for soldering or whatever. Great little tool. And then I have my homemade vice anvil, just with the block of square section steel on the base there, and that one goes into the vice there like that, and I can use that for hammering and also holding things for letter stamping. And I have a large or a very thick piece of aluminium plate there, which I've bolted a piece of hardwood onto the underside of that. That drops into the vise again, and I can use fire bricks and I put like a guard at the back there, and use that for silver soldering or soldering, and any work with the gas torch. So you can see that the vise becomes a workstation, saves having to have a large working area. I've even got like composite or plastic blocks that go into the vise there like that for shaping metal on. It's a great idea, and if you're setting up a small machine shop or workshop, I recommend doing this. So there we have it. I hope you can see that you can actually make a nice little machine shop out of a 10x8 shed, and thanks for watching, and see you next time.